views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello and welcome to Fashionistas Home Edition. I am your host, Clarissa Bello. It is a pleasure to have you join us on this beautiful afternoon. We trust that you and your loved ones are well and staying safe. In today's Bellas Fireside Chat conversation, we welcome the Regional Coordinator of Younglife, who will speak to us about the Hope and Relief Coalition, whose commitment is to bring hope and relief to the youth of New York City. Please join me in welcoming Lucy Mills. Miss Mills, thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful afternoon.
Thank you, Clarissa. It's so great to be here today.
Thank you for joining us. Miss Mills, can I call you Miss Mills?
Sure, anything you want.
Tell us more about what it is that you do at Younglife. And what is Younglife?
Younglife is a division of a larger organization called Younglife. And Younglife was started back in the 40s as an outreach to teenagers. Originally, it was high school kids. Eventually, they started to grow to include middle school kids, college kids, kids with special needs, and then a ministry that's specifically for teen moms, and that's what's called Younglife. And that's what I work with, and I oversee our programs in New York City and in New Jersey. So Younglife is, and as I mentioned, an outreach to teen moms. We build relationships with schools and with shelters, basically any place that we can find teen moms, and we build friendships with those girls. Then we invite them to the program as has included something we call club, which is our big group meeting. We have small groups that in Bible studies, we do mentoring. We take them to a summer camp every summer where they're allowed to bring their children with them, and we provide childcare while they're there. So it's a pretty holistic program that meets the needs of kids, particularly these teen moms and their babies, through friendship and also just helping them move forward, reach their goals, have a better understanding of their faith in God and how God can be a part of the rest of their lives and be a companion and a guide for them for the future.
That is such a great program. And there's nothing better than for youth to seek God, because everything just makes it more, it just becomes easier.
You're exactly right about that. That's what we're doing, is we're showing kids that opportunity. One thing is that if kids decide that they're not interested in following Christ, that's okay. We still want to include them in everything that we're doing. What's really important to us is model how Jesus reached out to people, and that's going where they are. So that's why we work so hard to find the teen moms. Instead of just putting flyers up in community centers, we try to go to where the girls are and build relationships with them first before we actually start inviting them to the different programs that we offer.
How has Younglife assisted the youth with spiritual growth?
Very simply, by just introducing them to the concepts of God. We take them through very simple parts. Even sometimes we'll even talk them through like how to find things in the Bible. This is the Old Testament, this is the New Testament. Very simple concepts at first. And then over time, every time we have group meetings, we might talk about a different aspect to just kind of like get their feet wet a little bit more with the ideas of God. So it's not overwhelming for them at first to try to do that. Kids who are more interested, who've maybe made a decision to follow Christ, who are maybe grew up in a Christian home and they're now involved in Younglife, can be involved in more advanced groups. In Young Life, we call them campaigners, but those are Bible studies that we have for kids that are getting more deep and really studying the Bible.
Your organization is international, but where is Young Life in New York City?
We're in all 5 boroughs. As I mentioned before, there's 5 different programs within Young Life: middle school, high school, college, kids with special needs, which we call Capernaum, and Young Lives for teen moms. So we have expressions of all of those all over all 5 boroughs, as well as on Long Island. We all have Young Life, which is our high school ministry, everywhere. Our college ministry is in a smattering of a few of the boroughs. We have Young Lives in all 5 boroughs as well. Our middle school ministry is in all 5 boroughs. So really, for someone who wants to get involved, the best way is just to go on our website and find out which one is the closest to them, and that would make it the easiest. But it's nice because for volunteers as well as for students, they usually are going to be able to find one of our Young Life groups, probably, if not in their own community district, in the next one over, which is pretty exciting.
Practicing social distancing to slow down the spread of COVID has been one of the most challenging moments for everyone, including our youth. Often feeling cut off from society, not being able to spend time with their friends, family, and so on. What are some of the practices Young Lives has created to bring relief and hope to those youth?
It's great for us because a lot of programs have shut down during COVID, and we're going just as strong, if not stronger. Since what I oversee is our program for teen moms, Young Lives, I can share that we, in all of our programs, we have weekly check-ins because we're concerned about mental health. So the girls can log on to a Zoom call where our adults are there to talk to them about things they're feeling, asking good questions to make sure that our girls are handling things well. And we're so used to babies, we don't not mind if babies are climbing up over the girl while she's talking, or there's lots of noise in the background. We're very used to that. We have that along with, we've had some big group meetings where we get all 5 boroughs and even up into upstate all together and have a big Young Lives Club where we'll have a special speaker, we'll have games and fun, and they can win prizes, and that might be like 60 or 70 girls that are getting on a call like that, and that kind of adds some extra fun for them. The other thing that we're doing is we're trying to surprise them with just things. Like we've had groups that have surprised the girls where while they were on a call with us, pizza was delivered to their house so that they were surprised with something fun like that. Or someone rang their bell and they went out and it was a basket filled with supplies to do a spa time. And then the girls all did facials together. So we're trying to figure out creative things to do to not only address how they're handling things emotionally, but also just provide fun for them as well during this really intense time, because they can't leave the house. So their socialization is all having to happen with a screen in front of them, which is difficult in some ways. The flip side of that is what we're finding is that girls are more willing to get on because it's less intimidating than showing up to an event. So they're willing to jump on these calls, and then they get on and they have a great time and they're encouraged. And so we are finding during COVID that we're actually growing. Another thing that we have started to do, and we've offered this to other social workers, including the Department of Education and shelters in the area, that if girls have needs, they're running low on diapers or wipes, formula, or just basic food items, that we're putting together boxes of all of these. We're calling them our Hope boxes, Hope Box NYC. We put together these boxes and we're shipping them to their door. So usually if they put in a request for a box, within about 2 or 3 days, the box will be on their front door with supplies that they need, which is relieving some stress for the girls of trying to figure out where they're going to get formula, or if they're running low on diapers, there's just not food in the house, that we're able to meet that need. And so that's been allowing us to meet a lot of new girls. Over 50% of the boxes that we've shipped out have been girls that we never knew before the COVID crisis had hit New York City.
We will take a quick break, and when we return, Ms. Mills will discuss how the coalition is bringing hope and relief to the youth of New York City. Don't go anywhere.
TV news, radio reports, and newspaper headlines in the 1970s and 80s misrepresented communities in the borough of the Bronx. Then, something transformative happened. By, for, and about the Bronx, BronxNet was born.
BronxNet provides media education,
opening the doors to competitive careers in the media industry
for thousands of students in middle school,
high school,
and college. BronxNet.
Welcome back, Ms. Mills. Can you tell us more about the Hope and Relief Coalition?
So a coalition has formed as a result of the COVID-19 crisis called the Coalition for Hope. It's very easy to find that online. It's coalitionforhope.nyc. And the coalition is several different organizations, agencies, and churches that have all decided to band together to meet the needs of adolescents during this time. So they are regularly having calls to discuss it and working in small groups to try to address particular needs that kids are dealing with. Mental health, thinking about their future. So also art and how they can express themselves during this time. Opportunities for service and to be receiving services as well. Fitness, also just opportunities for webinars so that they can hear just some positive messages during this time. So a lot of these different opportunities are in the mix right now to be offered to kids that are very close to being launched, if some of them have launched already. So a great place again to see that is coalitionforhope.nyc. It's very exciting to think of thousands of kids having the opportunity to be heard and have access to services, especially in this time when they're not being able to access so many things right now.
Are you reaching out to more youth than before?
Our hope is that we will. Since it's still in the early stages right now, we still don't have a number for that. I can tell you that the boxes that we've put together for our teen moms and these new girls that we're meeting, we're up over 100 girls who've received boxes, and included in those boxes is not just the food and supplies, but also we are providing art. There's a coloring book that's specific to this COVID time called Kindness Beats the Virus that was put together by one of the other organizations that are part of the coalition. So the girls, we include some colored pencils thrown in the box as well, so girls can take a minute and think about how important that is after she puts her baby to bed, to color and decompress and have images in front of her that she's coloring that are positive, that are talking about kindness, is going to win after this virus is over and during the virus as well. So that's just one small example of what we hope to do. But we're thinking even bigger than that. Access of kids to watching a webinar, or maybe they're getting services in a different kind of way, and we could get 2,000-3,000 kids in the city to log on to something to watch an exercise class or a dance class or something like that. So maybe they are all gonna go for a run or do something locally to be able to get outside and get some fresh air. So there's just a lot of different opportunities that are brewing right now. That's why it's great for people who want to get involved to jump onto this coalition now, so that they can also have input and be a part of volunteering to be able to see this come to fruition in the city.
I can just imagine these moms literally with their kids and signing up to these webinars and all that stuff, which is talk to us about that experience a little bit more. I know that you touched a little bit on that.
Clarissa, hopefully you'll be doing one of those as well. But we just have some people on the coalition who are just great at educating and know how to engage. And so some small pieces of that, I mentioned that we have done some group, what we call club meetings for our teen moms that are for the whole state of New York. We've actually had some groups outside of the New York area that that are jumping onto these calls as well. But like we did one 3 weeks ago that we specifically addressed mental health issues, and the girls were able to put in the chat their questions or things they were feeling or how they were processing if they've had a relative that passed during the crisis. And then our speaker was able to address it. She could see what those questions are, talk through it. We broke into breakout groups so that the girls could talk through the things that they've been feeling during this time. And so we just really want to be able to expand that idea even further. What are some other things that we can be talking about with the kids that we serve that they can be able to express themselves while they're also being fed, whether they're information that's really going to help them. We know fitness is a great example of when you work out, you feel better. You just do. So all the way over to teaching them about coding or talking to them about college prep, all of those kinds of things. What a great opportunity for us to offer this to kids during the season because they have time and also because they're really hungry for attention and for opportunities and for engagement. And so this is a small window that we have that we are jumping on to be able to offer these great opportunities for kids that we know have lasting impact for us because we are a Christian organization that believes in following God. We believe this has eternal impact for kids, but also in a much shorter term, this could make a difference between a student choosing to go to college or not choosing to go to college, or making a choice that causes him to make better decisions for his life and sets the course of his life in a very different direction. We believe that's all examples of how Jesus chose to do ministry on the earth. He was always redirecting people to follow him. You used to be a fisherman, now you're following me. Peter is an example, and just a few years later, he was preaching in front of 3,000 people when he was just a guy that went fishing. We believe, as Jesus did, that the potential for kids is so extraordinary, and we want to be a part of them being able to see what God has planned for their lives.
How many participants per webinar do you have?
These are all things that we're just starting to get launched. I can tell you that Younglife has been working in small groups for the most part at this point. So we might only have 10, 15, 20 kids getting on at a time. And then this would be an example of something we did on a much larger scale that we still haven't done yet because the coalition is still putting all of that together.
Can you talk to us about the high school and the college program Younglife has throughout New York City?
It's very simply called Younglife College. And we have those little pockets of them throughout the city. The example that I could give you for in the Bronx is there's a group that meets in the hub, and they represent students that are college age. Some of them are enrolled in school, some of them are at the age of being in school, but they gather regularly to meet with the staff person that is working on that. And she has relationships with all of them and is helping them with whatever that might be, spiritual direction, but also helping them through school or navigating the fact that they're under so much pressure. She has a vision to see kids, all kids who are in that age group, whether they're enrolled in school or not, to be able to have a place that they belong. Because we all like to be a part of something. We want to be on a team, or we want to be picked for kickball. We want to be the person that gets on, I'm in this group or I'm on this group. And this is an opportunity for kids to feel like they belong to something, which is so powerful for them.
Can you talk to us about the special needs program that you have available for the youth?
Younglife's program for special needs kids is called Capernaum, and it's a beautiful program. Just to tell a story, one of our groups that's in North Jersey, she during this time has been every day going on Zoom and reading Bible stories to the kids who are involved in it. We call them our friends. And it's just a way for them, just like I mentioned before about that sense of belonging, for them to feel a part of something. So there's the special needs group. Sometimes they get together and do karaoke. The group in the Bronx, that's what they're working on doing, is regular karaoke nights with the special needs kids. they also get an opportunity to go to camp. Young Life has properties all over the country. The one that's closest to us is called Lake Champion. And we provide at Lake Champion every opportunity for our special needs kids that any kid would have. So if there's the ropes course, the zip line, if the student is in a wheelchair, they're still able to do all of those activities because we have special gear for them to be able to do that. They can go tubing, whatever. So it's a way to say inclusion, which is such an example again of how Jesus is. He's always inclusive. This inclusion that when you're here, you're like every other student that's here in the room. And the Capernaum ministry, it's very hard to just even see that group and what they're doing and not be moved to tears, because it's such a beautiful example of the kingdom of God and just how Jesus has a heart for every single person.
How many times throughout the year did you guys hosted these camps?
Our Lake Champion has camps throughout the summer. So 1 week camps throughout the summer. So sometimes they're for high school kids. There's 1 week for teen moms. There's time for kids with special needs. In the fall, there's a time that's just for college kids. And it's the entire summer, but usually every single group will go one time in the summer for a week, and then we'll go again during the winter, during the school year for a weekend. So that gives opportunities for kids who maybe not, or they have to work or have other obligations and they're not able to go in the summer. They could go on a weekend. So there's more of a chance that the kids that we serve are going to at least get one chance to go to camp, because it really is a life-changing experience for them to be able to do that.
And what is the age range for any student to participate in any of these activities?
Our middle school program starts in 6th grade, so that would be 12 years old. And then we take them obviously up through college, and so whatever that would be. So particularly the program that I oversee with Young Lives and Teen Moms, we keep girls until they're 21. And then once they cross over into 21, we try to move them into leadership training. We want them to be ready to give back to the next generation of girls. So if she's 22, 23, that she's investing in a girl that's 14 or 15 and is just finding out that she's pregnant. It's our way also to just keep track of our teen moms and let them know that we still care and we still want them a part of what we're doing. So there's kind of a we have a long-term plan with the kids that we serve. But along with that, though, our desire is that our kids will transition into the church. And so they're involved in what we're doing. We're encouraging kids to go to church, whether they go with their leader or they go with their grandma, that they go to church. And then when they've aged out of our programs or they've moved on, they're still already invested in the church. And then that's long-term for the church as well.
How can a youth sign up for your program?
The easiest way to get involved is to just go to Younglife NYC on Instagram, Facebook. Those are even through websites, can just go to Younglife NYC and find out the basic information about the program. That's also a way for potential volunteers to get involved as well. It'll also direct you if a student is from a particular borough, it'll lead them also to other places on the website they can go to find out about what Younglife is doing in their particular community. So that's the best route for them to take, which is nice because it's on social media. There's a lot of different ways to reach out. And once there's online forms and stuff they can fill out, then one of our staff or volunteer will be back in touch with that student. So they don't have to feel like they have to show up to something without knowing anybody. They'll definitely have a relationship with one of our adults involved before they ever come to our first event.
Where can anyone find more information, whether those that would like to participate, be part of the committee or the youth?
The easiest place to go is just younglifenyc.org. That's probably the simplest place for you to go. Anyone who's involved or interested in getting involved in Young Lives very specifically could just email me directly, which is lucy@younglives.younglife.org. But if that's too complicated, Young Life NYC is also just a very simple way to find out more, watch some videos, videos on what we do, and then there's an opportunity there to put in your contact information.
Thank you so much, Lucy, for joining us. We hope to have you back soon and further discuss the incredible next praise that the Hope and Relief Coalition is doing for city youth. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Clarissa.
Be sure to follow us on social media at Bellas Fashionistas and our media partner at BronxNet TV. To watch more of our programming, please visit our websites at bellasfashionistas.com and our media partner at bronxnet.org. Take care. Have a great day.